listened to that and I just thought, the guy's a D-bag, and you can leave him. You came into the relationship with a life, you took on the lifestyle, and you easily could have left. You know, yeah, you'd lose the fancy apartment and all the things that you got as a bonus by being with Diddy. But this wasn't the kind of situation where Cassie felt if she left, he'd come after her. He'd send his staff after her. He'd send his security agents after her. That Diddy would come after her and beat her senseless if she did just the least, tiniest thing that didn't involve him or was out of his control. I'm not getting that sense with Jane, and I want to be real clear. In order to establish that this is coercion or sex trafficking, you have to say, I don't want to cross that state line. I don't want to go to Turks and Caicos. Get on the damn plane, girl. Now you're talking coercion. Now you're talking she didn't have a choice. I felt like she had a choice in all of this. She just really liked the fancy money and the life.
Well, and she also liked him. That's what I thought would have been different, because she came a little bit different versus like, oh, he did all these bad things to me. She came like, I loved him. I wanted to be with him. He's a great guy. He was an amazing guy. He was affectionate. He had an alluring personality. All I wanted was him, but he didn't just want it to be me and him. He wanted me with all these other things. And when I didn't want to do that, then he would hold the money over my head. So I don't feel like she ever did not want to be there. She actually said she enjoyed it when it was him and her.
Yeah. I keep going back to the time I dated a-holes, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I do not like them. I am out of here. I'm going to get my own life. And so I tell you what, I am waiting, and you tell me if you think this is where the government's going. I am waiting to find out if he started to get violent with her, because then all bets are off, right? Now everything changes. Now there's violence, threat, coercion, control. You can't just say it's controlling because he's like, I don't want you if you're not going to live my kinky lifestyle. I'm not going to pay for your apartment. That's not coercion to me. But do you think that's coming? Do you think that they're headed towards some testimony from this witness, Jane, who might say the beatings started?
I feel like that's what we're expecting, but let me ask you with your expertise, do you think that we could have kind of now been violenced out, and maybe if she comes in a place where I really liked him and I really wanted to be with him, but he still was looming the money over me, and I have my receipts, I have the text messages where I didn't want to have all the sex, because her testimony doesn't sound that far off from Cassie's. It's just not the abuse, but he's still manipulating her and kind of gaslighting her in a way. So I think that it might be a little bit more refreshing to say, okay, everybody's not getting up here claiming that they're being beat, because a lot of people saying they're getting beat, they're not really coming out to be truthful witnesses, from Mia to Bana. So
certain aspects, and you're right, that's what the defense says. They chip away things when you say, I don't remember, I can't remember, whatever. But I'll tell you this, when I was listening to everything that Jane was laying out, it sounded to me like a divorce hearing for a settlement. It didn't sound to me like racketeering. And I also didn't get the impression that Jane was an employee. Okay, he's handing her gifts and money. My husband gives me a nice watch every so often too. I'm not on his payroll. I'm not his employee. So I got a very different sense, but I sort of feel like if she starts testifying about how things, they started with the love bombing and then turned to the beat bombing, then that will change the metric. Let me ask you something else, though. What about the jurors? Because I know that you've watched them on occasion. Today, one of our staff members said there's one juror in particular who is like smirking every time Diddy's lawyers make a good point and, dress down one of the government witnesses. And then today, that juror was like beaming when this whole, Bana Bangalan, was caught in what looked like a lie, because her dates didn't line up with the abuse that she said, was exacted upon her on the balcony, being dangled. What's your impression of how this jury's reacting?
Okay, so for me, I was in the overflow today, but I think that, but everybody, for the most part, was kind of gagging a little bit, because when Westmoreland gets on that stand, or when Brian Steele gets on that stand, they put on a performance jacket like none other. So I don't know if the juror smiling was more about a nod to Diddy versus it was like, hey, she's really grilling her, and this girl is sitting up there stuck, because it was like, Bonham was over there looking like she had seen a ghost with those lies. And then she was like, she asked her, she said, a person can't be at one place, two places at the same time. And then Bonham goes, I guess that's right, by theory. And everybody cracks up because it's like, yeah, girl, you're kind of caught in this lie right now. So I think it's more of a lighthearted thing versus like, oh, I'm rocking with Diddy. Because Bonham was sitting up there like a deer in headlights, and then she was stumbling over herself, and Westmoreland was really grilling her. However, I do think that this will boil down to what men think versus how women see things. And I think that's going to be the issue with the jurors, because I'm hearing a lot of men are not really thinking Diddy did anything wrong, or at least it's not being proven. Whereas women are a little bit more emotionally charged. So all they have to do is see the domestic violence video and they've made their decision.
Yeah, and listen, jurors might just hate him for that and say, I don't even care whether he's a racketeer. I don't like him. I want him going to jail just for that. And sometimes that happens. It's not right, but sometimes it happens. Armon, will you please come back to this show?
Yes. Will you please have me back, for sure.
Absolutely. I want to have you on my podcast too. I think your insights are really good on this trial, and I've enjoyed listening to you as well. Also on TMZ. So Armon Wiggins, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.